So the world has 15, 18 million electric vehicles now. That would reduce world oil consumption by about 10%. That's not nothing, but it doesn't end the use of oil for the world.
Electric cars have been stealing the spotlight lately, promising a greener future for transportation, but things aren't looking good for EVs now. Major car companies seem to be hitting the brakes on EVs, and guess what? Gas-powered vehicles might be making a comeback. Why the sudden switch? Let's find out. Remember all those fancy commercials about sleek, futuristic electric cars? Those things cost a ton to make. Manufacturing EVs is still way more expensive than your average gas engine. This means car companies, the ones making these beauties, aren't exactly raking in the big bucks when they sell electric. In fact, sometimes they even lose money. That's not a great recipe for success, now is it? Gas-powered cars, even though they might not be the most environmentally friendly option, are still way cheaper to produce. And guess what? They sell like hotcakes. People are familiar with them, they're generally cheaper to buy, and the infrastructure for gas stations is already there. So for these car companies, it's a bit of a no-brainer in the short term. They can focus on selling more gas-powered cars, which makes them more money, while they figure out how to bring down the production costs of EVs. It's all about keeping the business afloat. Take, for instance, a giant like Ford. They recently announced a slowdown in production for their electric F-150 Lightning truck. In Q1 of 2024, their EV sales only accounted for 2.1% of their total vehicle sales. This is a significant contrast to their initial aggressive push into the electric market. But hey, it's not about the sales and market value. There are other factors at play too. Remember those super low interest rates we had a while back? Well, those days are gone. Now, borrowing money to invest in those fancy EV factories is a lot more expensive. That makes car companies even more hesitant to take big risks on new technologies. Let's face it, folks, not everyone can afford a brand new Tesla. Even with gas prices going up, a lot of people are still priced out of the electric car market. Until EVs become more affordable, the majority of folks are going to stick with what they know, gas-powered vehicles. And let's not forget about competition. Car companies are in a constant battle to win over customers. If everyone else is selling gas-powered cars that are cheaper and easier to find, it puts a lot of pressure on the companies trying to push EVs. They gotta make a strong case for people to switch, and right now, price might be a big hurdle. It's not just the car companies rethinking their EV strategies. While the technology is undeniably cool, there's a grumble coming from some consumers too. For many folks, the upfront cost just isn't feasible. Then there's the range anxiety, the fear of running out of juice before finding a charging station. The lack of widespread infrastructure can be a real concern, especially for those who don't have access to home charging. Until these issues are addressed, some consumers might be hesitant to jump on the electric bandwagon. So, are electric vehicles doomed? Not exactly. This doesn't mean EVs are going extinct. They're still the future, but maybe the future is a little further down the road than we originally thought. Think of it like this. We're all on a road trip towards a cleaner electric future, but right now, we might have to stop for gas. It's a bump in the road, but not the end of the journey. Car companies are still working on making EVs cheaper and better. Governments are offering incentives for people to buy electric, and let's not forget, the whole climate change thing is still a pretty big deal. So, there's a lot of pressure to get back on track towards electrification. The question is, how long will this gas stop last? That's tough to say, but one thing's for sure. The future of transportation is still electric. We just might have to wait a bit longer than we expected to get there. What do you guys think? Are you surprised by this potential shift back towards gas? Let us know in the comments below, and hey, if you're looking for an electric car, don't give up hope. There are still some great options out there, and hopefully they'll become even more affordable soon. Until then, stay informed and maybe keep an eye on those gas prices. They might be on the rise again. And while you're here, do hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future electric car news. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.